Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the call. Everybody who's joined in so far, this is Ori Yankolev with OwnBackup. We're just waiting another minute or so for the rest of the registrants to join the call. Thank you for bearing with us. We'll be getting started very shortly.
Ori, can you hear me? Ori?
All right, so I think it's about 2:05. I think it's a good time to get started. We have everybody who's expected to joined into the call already. So let me just start off by thanking everyone for joining us today. We're really excited to be presenting our summer 2016 product update. We have a lot of great updates for you today. I'm here today with our VP of Product, Erez Shilon. I'll let him introduce himself in just a minute. And before we get started, I'll just start with a quick review of the agenda. So what we're going to be covering today is just a quick company update. We've had an amazing first half of 2016. We're extremely excited to share some of these updates with our customers and prospective customers on the call today. We're also going to be walking through the highlights of our summer 16 product updates that include platform security updates and some great new features that will allow you to export your data to a SQL database and also find our new search functionality. We're going to wrap up the call with a quick highlights of the roadmap. We'll see what's coming out in the next quarter or so. And then we'll leave some time at the end for Q&A. So we're happy to keep this interactive. If you have questions throughout, feel free to use the Q&A feature of the webinar. We'll also leave some time at the end. So if we feel any questions are more appropriate to save them till the end, we'll do that. So before I jump right in, let me just do a quick introduction. So I'm Ori Yankolev, the VP of Sales here at OwnBackup. I've been a Salesforce admin now for about 8 years. I've done a lot of different implementations, consulting work, deployments with different companies in all different verticals, and I've also had data loss before I started working with OwnBackup. And so I am very familiar with the challenges associated with it. And I'm here today with Erez. Erez, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Erez. I recently joined OwnBackup about a month ago. I'm really excited to join the team. In fact, I used to be a Salesforce consultant. It's one of my first jobs out of university. It was a very exciting time. I got to implement a lot of Salesforce projects at a lot of Israeli clients. Very interesting, very vibrant. Afterwards, I moved on to be a product manager for a company called Leverate. And I recently joined OwnBackup. I'm really happy to be a part of this team. It's all about solving technology problems in a very innovative way. It's a lot of thinking process and learning process. One of the things that drive me in my day-to-day work is getting feedback from clients, is basically hearing what you guys think. So I would definitely hope that this session would be very interactive and we'll get to hear from you guys a bit and not just speak all along. So that's it from me.
Outstanding. So let me jump right into some great OwnBackup company updates. In the first half of this year, probably the biggest change at OwnBackup is that we've grown and we're going to continue growing. We've hired a lot of new people in product, in customer support, and sales and marketing as well. We're really growing as a company, and it's very exciting to see new faces when I come to the office every day. And these people are all making OwnBackup a better product and a better company. So we're very excited about that. We also completed our annual SOC 2 compliance audit first half of this year, which is always good. Make sure all our boxes are checked and make sure that we're following all our policies and procedures. We also, some of the very exciting news, secured a growth funding round from some of the leading investors in the space. So one of the most exciting things that happened in the first half of this year was that we actually closed a round of funding with Salesforce Ventures that was actually led by Innovation Endeavors, which is Eric Schmidt's from Google, his venture capital fund. Who also invested in us, and we're also backed by Microsoft Ventures, and we enjoy a very close partnership with them as well. So we're very excited to be working with some of the leading technology investors in the ecosystem, and they're really driving innovation here at OwnBackup and really validating our mission. I say, the next thing here is, you asked for it, you got it, but what that means basically is that everything we're going to show you today, every single feature that we're about to show you, is something that our customers have asked for. And that is really what drives innovation here at OwnBackup. We're here to make a better product for our customers and to help enterprises meet the challenges they face as new critical data moves on to SaaS applications. And that's what you'll be seeing here today. And finally, one thing I'd like to point out is that we're still and continue to be the #1 rated backup and recovery solution on the App Exchange. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank our customers for leaving those reviews and continuing to support us. And we couldn't be here today without your support. So we appreciate that. And if you haven't left a review, there's never a better time to do it. So we appreciate it if you would go and leave us a review, objective review on our App Exchange page. So I will jump into the next session here, where I'll jump right into our summer 2016 product updates. And I'll start with the security update. So one of the major upgrades we did to our system here was the platform security updates, which include single sign-on integration. That's with any SAML-based identity provider. So whether you're using Okta, Microsoft Active Directory, Unbound ID, or some other SAML-based identity provider, you can now use your single sign-on identity to integrate with Salesforce. By the way, to integrate with OwnBackup. By the way, Salesforce can also be used as an identity provider. That's what I'll be showing you today. We also have two-factor authentication as an option now, which is a really important feature for enterprises that have very, very strict security policies around access to their data. This can ensure that any employee who logs into OwnBackup actually has to go through a two-step authentication process, where they would log in with their password and then actually also get a code that rotates every 30 seconds on their cell phone. I will show that as well. Also, our new user management foundation is now deployed, so we'll be building on that, but you'll see the kind of initial what that's going to look like and what that's going to start to look like. And then I'll just give a quick highlight of some of the additional security enhancements that are in the application that you may or may not already be using. So with that said, let me jump right into a quick demo of our security updates. Let me switch over to Salesforce here. And the first thing I'm going to go over is the single sign-on integration. So enabling single sign-on is super easy. All you have to do is go into your OwnBackup. Here I am logged into my OwnBackup account. All you have to do is go over to your account settings, go over to the new security tab, and you can check this box for single sign-on. Actually, what you would do is contact our customer success team. We'll provide you with some documentation, and once you add some configurations to your identity provider, this whole thing will be connected and you'll see that box checked. Now, to show you what this looks like when it's fully set up, here's an example. I'm logged into Salesforce now, and when I have single sign-on set up with OwnBackup with my Salesforce identity, I can literally just come over to my Applications tab and click on this OwnBackup button, and it takes me straight into OwnBackup using my Salesforce identity. So it can make the whole process completely streamlined. It is even better if you're using an external third party instead of Salesforce, a third party identity provider. But this is also a good way to kind of streamline the process. And certainly when it comes to provisioning and deprovisioning users, this helps to make any security policy a little bit more secure. So that's single sign-on. The next security enhancement that I want to show you is our two-factor authentication. So enabling that is also a very, very simple process. Once you're logged into OwnBackup, all you have to do is come into your edit profile screen here and set up two-factor authentication. Now what this does is it allows you to enable that. So you just type in your password and click this enable two-factor authentication. And when I click this, it's going to present this password, this barcode for me, which I then have to scan using the Google Authenticator app on my mobile phone. And once I've scanned that app, once I've scanned this barcode using the app, let me go ahead and scan that. It will present a rotating code that gets presented to you every time you want to log in. So that will look something like this on your phone, and you'll be presented with this screen, which will actually show you a temporary code, and this code again expires every 30 seconds. So this is an incredibly secure way to make sure that your access to OwnBackup is highly secured. And this is something our larger enterprise customers have been asking us for, and we're happy to say that this is now available. I'm going to go back to my profile. And what else is nice once you have this enabled is that when you go back to your user management here, you'll see that Ori now has two-factor authentication enabled, and you'll be able to see which ones are enabled and which ones are not. You'll also see that you can now promote and demote users directly from within the application. So this is going to be the foundation for what's going to be much more advanced user management features in OwnBackup, which will give users the ability to add additional users, remove users, and restrict access to different environments, different backup types, and different functions of the tool. Now, these are some of the really new stuff. In addition to this, I want to just quickly cover some of the existing security features that you have available to you. So one of the most powerful features we have from a security perspective is the ability to restrict access by IP ranges. You can turn this on by enabling that and adding networks that you deem as acceptable networks. And then users will only be able to access OwnBackup from those networks. In addition to that, we have this new password expiration policies where you can decide how many passwords your users can reuse, or how many attempts they have, when it should expire, and when your session should time out. So really improving the platform security features that are available today in OwnBackup for our enterprise clients. Let me just do a quick check on the Q&A to see if I can address anything now as we go. So a couple of questions here that I see on the screen. Are you able to provide SOC compliance documents? Yes, we are happy to provide our SOC compliance documents upon request to customers. If you're not a customer, we would need to have an NDA in place. A couple other questions here. Are security updates available in all editions of OwnBackup? Most of these are available in all editions. The single sign-on is only available in our unlimited plan. Existing customers will be getting grandfathered in to many of these features, however, regardless of the plan. One other question here before I move on. The mobile app for Google Authenticator for the two-factor authentication is available on both iPhone and Android. All right, and thank you for the questions, guys. We'll save the remaining ones for the end of the call. And let me jump back into here, and we'll move to the next major feature in our summer updates, export to SQL. Erez, let me hand it off to you.
Thank you, Ori. So let's talk about export to SQL. So basically, export to SQL does what it says. We allow you to export a backup snapshot into a SQL database. What you do is you choose a backup, you click export on demand, you get a SQL file that you can basically import into your SQL database. That file contains all of the tables and create actions that actually build the database inside SQL. The idea behind it, first of all, it generated from a client, which, like Ori mentioned before, is something that we really like doing. But imagine that Salesforce has a crash, and you need to be able to keep working, but you don't want to rely on flat CSV files. You want to be able to query your data and use it in a relational form, just like Salesforce does. So we basically allow you to connect to OwnBackup from wherever you are, no matter what happens in Salesforce, extract data, import it into SQL, and then run any query that you want. And so you'll have your business continuity taken care of right there. That's, I say, would be the most out-of-the-box use case. But we have talked to a few of our clients, and we discovered that there are actually other very interesting use cases for that. For instance, I had a conversation with a client a week ago who described to me that they want to be able to extract historical data from their Salesforce and see at any given point in time what happened in their pipeline. Now, the reason that they want to do that is because they want to be able to check their forecasts to make sure that they indeed take care of enough inventory according to the pipeline, so on, so on. So basically, you can do that now with this feature. You can export to SQL from any given backup snapshot a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, and then start managing this inside your SQL. Also, you can use that in order to integrate other components into your Salesforce and even create a BI tool or BI integration on top of your Salesforce data. So let me share my screen, and I will take you through a short journey on how exactly we do that. So right now I'm logged into my own OwnBackup account. I'm backing up my developer environment, and technically, yeah, you can say that I get high on my own supply. I'm going into the backup sets, which I think is a screen that most of you are probably familiar with, but I'll go through it real quick just now. As you can see, each line represents a backup snapshot. There are daily snapshots, and I ran a forced backup just before we started the webinar. So let's go into that backup, and let's see what happens inside. So we see all of our objects. We see how many records exist in each object. And we also see that, for instance, I changed 4 records in accounts today. So I will click on the export backup, get the SQL. What will be generated right now is a job that in the background, it basically collects all of the data that we have and creates a zip file that in turn contains a SQL file. So I downloaded the zip file. I'll open it. And here we have the SQL file that we want to open. That's from 925. I did another one earlier today. So let's go into SQL. I created a database just for us. Right now it's empty. And let's import that file. So I'm importing the SQL file. Working. And done. So right now we have the entire Salesforce database on SQL. Let's just see if we have all of my accounts. I think I have 12. So let's see. Yep. Okay. So these are 12 accounts that I have in my developer in my developer environment. And that is that. So let me go back into the webinar, and I'll check if there's some questions. In fact, I'm going to hand it out to Ori, and I'll check the questions, and if there are any related ones, I'll answer them at the end. So it's back to you, Ori. By the way, I know that you're in the Jersey office. How is it over there right now?
It is a little cloudy outside, but it is always nice to be in here in New Jersey.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So let me go ahead and share my screen again. And I'll just take a quick pause here to see if we have any questions we can answer on the fly.
I'll answer one question. Lisa asked, can these SQL exports be scheduled? Right now, no, but we're definitely considering developing that feature. I am really, really happy that you asked that question. Thank you. We have another question. Can I use the export to SQL to query things within Salesforce in MySQL versus SQL? I imagine so, yeah. You can do that.
Okay, great. So let's keep moving here on to the next exciting feature that's now available, which is Find. So Find is OwnBackup's new search functionality, which is going to allow our customers to be able to search for any phrase across all fields and objects in any time frame. So this has any number of applications and use cases, from compliance to archiving to backup and recovery. If you're a huge environment and you've gotten to the point where the amount of data in your environment is affecting performance in Salesforce, you can now go ahead and start deleting stuff that's older than 2 years or 18 months or whatever your process might be, and be able to use this find functionality to find any data that's been archived, that's no longer in Salesforce. It could be useful in that scenario. It could be useful if a sales rep just deleted some stuff and you need to find it quickly. It can also be used in some compliance situations where you might need to be able to produce a record of every contact or task or case associated with some particular account from the archives, from your backups, in case something had been deleted. So it has, again, many different use cases here. It's an extremely powerful feature. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and jump to the demo of this feature as well. So let me go ahead and pull up OwnBackup again on the screen. And we will go ahead and go over to the Find tab. So you should now be able to see a Find tab within OwnBackup when you log in. And from here, you can actually go through the Find wizard. So you start by first selecting the environment in which you would like to search for your search term. So I'll start with my demo prod environment here, and I'll go ahead and click next. Now, what this allows me to do is search within a specific time frame. I can choose one particular snapshot if I wanted to see, search for something from a specific date or in a specific date. I can choose a time frame. I can choose a date range essentially to say search, everything in the last since July 1st, or if I know that my archive date was January 1st, I could search everything from my first backup up until January 1st over here. So I can control kind of both ends of the time frame, and I can also just search everything. So let me just choose a date range here, and I'll go to the next step. So here is where you'll select your search term, basically essentially what you would like to find. And here you can use a few different search methods. You can type in any phrase. All searches are and, not or. And you can use things like quotes to find an exact phrase, like Acme Inc. Or you can not use quotes. You can also set filters, like if you want to search for a specific object. For example, if I wanted to find all tasks and contacts associated with some specific account, for example, let's look for the account Academia. I know I have an account called Academia. And I only want to find a specific account that has Academia in the name. So I'll search only within the SObject account. And I'll go ahead and run that search. Let me make sure my autocorrect doesn't mess up my filter there. And we will kick that job off. Now, what it's doing is searching throughout that entire time frame in all of my backup history on the accounts object for the word Academia. Now, when it does this search, it also searches in every field. So even if it's not the account name, even if you have Academia in the address or in the description, those will appear. And what's nice is when you get these results, you not only get the list, but you also can see if this account changed over time within the date range that you selected. You'll see all the different versions. So I can actually see this account changes almost every day. And I can see all the different versions. This is the version from July 8th at 7:49. This is the version from July 8th at 8:24. And so on and so forth. And I can get each one of these versions individually and see potentially what changed in a given day just by looking at that file. So let me pull that up on the screen so we can take a look at that one particular account from July 8th, and I can see that it is not, or it was not deleted back on July 8th, and I can see all the different fields for this particular account back then. So it makes it very easy to find those changes and find something as it was back then. Now let's say that the specific account that I'm looking for in this situation is Academia de Lengua y Cultura. I can go ahead and grab this account ID, and now I can go back to my find feature. Now it doesn't matter if this has been deleted or not. I get all this information right from within OwnBackup. So it's taking a whole new level of giving you the ability to interact with this data. And I can now take that ID, I've copied it, I can go back to my find, and I could search now within that same environment, within that same time frame. Let's go back to July 1st, and search for just that specific ID. So now if I look for an ID, I can then filter it down by SObject and say, I only want tasks and contacts associated with this ID, which could be a fairly common request from potential audit request or compliance request. And so now what it's doing is it's searching in that same time frame for that ID, but only on the task and contact as object. And here I'll get similar results. I can see that even though that account changes a lot, these tasks don't change very often, neither these contacts. I just have one version of all of them, and it's the same version that's been there since April 27th. So these are the 3 contacts associated with that account. These are the 3 tasks associated with that account. They all have been the same since April 27th. And once I have this, I can easily share this data with another business analyst in my organization, or with a potential auditor or compliance officer, by easily just downloading all versions or only all the latest versions in one neatly packaged up zip file or folder that contains all those contacts and all those tasks and the record values, the field values for each one of those records. So it's an extremely powerful and flexible tool, and we're going to be adding a lot of enhancements to this tool as well over time. So that is our latest feature, Find, which is now available to customers, and going forward it will only be available to customers on the unlimited plan. So let me jump back to our presentation here and jump into our next section. So Erez, I'm going to hand it back to you to talk a little bit about the updates we have coming out this fall.
Thank you, Ori. So we're really excited about delivering this next release of OwnBackup. Everything that you see here, we're hoping to deliver just before Dreamforce, so that will be exciting. We have a very, very strong R&D team who are actually capable of delivering things not in chunks of every 3 months, but we're delivering value to our clients almost every 2 weeks. So some of these things you may see before Dreamforce, and I mean way, way before Dreamforce. So let's dive into each one of them, and we'll discuss them in more detail. So we got the improved restore capabilities. We know that restore is one of our strongest capabilities, and we wanted to increase our value in that space. So the first thing that we are going to do, we are going to make sure that our restore is faster. We've been seeing bigger and bigger enterprise organizations that are joining us as clients. They have bigger demands, and we are very happy to accommodate that. We believe that it builds our product and makes it a much stronger offering to the entire market, and that's why we're going that direction with the faster restore. We will also be very, very happy to release a first version of a metadata restore tool that will allow you to restore directly from OwnBackup a list of a few metadata objects back into your Salesforce. So that is very, very exciting. We hope that it can really help you speed up your development process. And we are currently designing and working on the multi-parent restore tool, which will basically allow you to, again, seed sandboxes much easier and faster without having to choose a parent and child, a parent and child, a parent and child, but to choose a group of objects and delivering them directly into your required environment. So that should be pretty exciting, but not as exciting maybe as the next feature, which personally I'm very happy to be delivering, and that is the proactive notifications. We believe that it's not enough to give you the tools to back up and restore and have business continuity. We want to deliver you a lot of value that can be derived from your data. So one of these things is the ability to maintain your security with proactive notifications. Imagine if you could have a notification letting you know that more than X amount of your accounts are changing. You know, for example, that on a normal day or normal week, you have 20% of your accounts being edited or changed or whatever. But what if on a certain day, 50% are changing or 70%? I guess you would like to know about that. Maybe there is a rogue integration going around. Maybe there is a malicious intent from one of your employees, disgruntled salesperson maybe. I don't know. So we want to be able to give you tools to better protect yourself. And that's what proactive notifications is all about, better protection. But we didn't want to just keep you with proactive notifications. We wanted to give you the data that you can build the notifications according to. So that's where the backup summary trend graph really comes in handy. We will give you the ability to know how many records per object or per your entire organization have changed, added, or deleted in a certain amount of time. So you could look at your trend, and from that you can derive your spikes. So like my previous example, you see that your trend is about 20% accounts are changed every day. So you know that if 40% are changing, you have a big problem. Or you know that in a normal day, 20% of your leads are being deleted. What if one day 30% are deleted? So these are the strong capabilities that the graph will give you. It will give you the insights to know which notifications to build. And we hope that you'll never have to protect yourself from anything at all, but just in case, we brought this to the table. So we'll be very, very happy to hear your feedback, not just on these upcoming features, but on the existing ones that we have already released. And what interests me the most personally is to hear other use cases that you might come up with, or different ideas for additional features or capabilities that you would like to see from our product. And I would be very excited to hear about them. So back to you, Ori.
Thank you, Erez, and thank you to everyone that attended. We did finish a few minutes early here, so I think it's a perfect time to open up the floor to any additional questions. We have been answering some along the way, but let me go ahead and open it up and see if there is any more Q&A. I will also say that anybody who joined the call will receive a recording of the session or a link to a recording. And we do appreciate you joining us today. And please write a review on our App Exchange page. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at sales@ownbackup.com. We'll open it up for questions now. So one question that we have here from Mia is, can we find data that's archived beyond our archival cycle period in Salesforce? And I'm assuming that means data that hasn't been already backed up. For instance, if you started backing up with OwnBackup on July 1st and you wanted to find data that had been deleted before July 1st, this wouldn't find that data. We don't have any way to find anything if it hasn't been backed up already. It needs to be in the backups. Thank you for that question, Mia. One other question we got from Ohad. I will be attending the New York City user group event tomorrow. I hope to see you there. All right. Another question we got from Mia, is there additional cost for scheduling backups multiple times per day? There is. You can always use the forced backup now at no additional cost, but if you want automated backups multiple times per day, there is additional cost for that. You should work with your account executive on that. And we do have one other question here from the audience. Do we back up metadata? The answer is yes, we do. And as Erez mentioned, we're also working on metadata recovery tools as well that should be available before Dreamforce this year. Another question from Mia. Can we export summarized backup trend graphs to Excel for further analysis? I am not 100% sure about that. Erez, I don't know if you want to comment on that, but what you can always do, Mia, is export your snapshots to a SQL database. And one of the really interesting use cases that we're seeing for that is things like running historical reports, which is probably why you're asking. For example, one of the most common questions I used to get as a Salesforce admin was from my VP of sales, who would say, hey, can you run me a report of what did our pipeline look like in January? And, you know, probably most of the people on the call today know that there's no easy way to do that in Salesforce. You have some kind of very limited options like doing data snapshots and things like that, but those really, really are limited. And this gives you your full environment from basically any point in time available in a SQL database format. So you can really do some interesting stuff from a historical reporting perspective.
Yeah, and I see another question from Didi. What will be included in the fall release for metadata restore? I imagine that the question relates to which objects will be available. So let me give you a small preview. It's not the full list. We're going to do profiles, permission sets assignments, layouts, workflows, reports and dashboards. We're not going to do the entire metadata object list, but that's a partial part of what we're going to be delivering.
Awesome. And we got a few more questions here from Gerald. Will the metadata be searchable? Gerald, that's a great question. I'm going to have Erez make a note of that. I'm not 100% sure. Erez, I don't know if you have any comments on that one.
I really like this suggestion, Gerald. I love it. Thank you.
Okay. Would I be able to find users for a group by searching for the group ID? Yes, the answer is absolutely. That's available today in Find. If you were to select your time frame and search for the group ID, I believe users are associated to the group ID when they're group members. So you should be able to filter, search for a group ID and filter by the users table or the users S object to get those results. And also the third part of your question, reports are indeed metadata. So Mia, thank you for your question on the SAML versions. We're actually verifying that right now, and we will, if we don't get an answer in time, we will follow up with you offline. All right. Any other questions from the audience today? All right. Well, it looks like we are just about out of questions. So thank you very much for attending, everyone. As I said, you will receive a link to the recording of this session. Thanks again for attending, and we appreciate your support. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, everybody.